Welcome, everyone. Let's jump right in. We are about to embark on a seriously fascinating deep dive into a landscape and a cultural heritage that's literally defined by its massive, epic scale. We're talking about the story of how unparalleled geographical extremes birthed a true global superpower. It's kind of like a giant puzzle, connecting the vast, raw, physical Earth right to the immense cultural and economic engine it supports today. So let's get this virtual tour started. Okay, let's dive into this. We've got a clear roadmap for us today. First, we'll explore the natural wonders and geography. Then, we'll hit culture, sports, and entertainment. And finally, we'll wrap up the tour with education, science, and the economy. Kicking things off with part one, natural wonders and geography. And wow, this place is absolutely a land of extremes. To really understand the culture here, you absolutely have to understand the land first. Just imagine, for a second, experiencing the craziest weather contrasts imaginable, all within the exact same country. You can seamlessly shift from the freezing, brutal winters of the Alaskan tundra straight to the scorching, sun-baked expanses of Death Valley. No passport required. But hey, this environmental diversity, it's not just some cool geographic quirk. It is the foundational catalyst for the entire nation's character. I mean, think about it. When you force early settlers and indigenous populations to survive and innovate in radically different, honestly hostile environments, you're laying the groundwork for a fiercely adaptable people. When your land demands everything from specialized ice-breaking infrastructure to complex desert irrigation systems, well, you inherently breed a culture of relentless, hardcore problem-solving. And because of those extreme forces of nature, the carving of ancient ice, the relentless erosion of wind and water, this dynamic landscape produces formations that just command absolute global awe. Take the Grand Canyon, for example. We're not just talking about everyday pretty scenery here. This is a massive, gaping record of planetary history. Its sheer, unimaginable scale exposes billions of years of the Earth's geological past right before your eyes. And standing on the edge of something that vast, it creates a profound psychological impact. It fundamentally scales up the ambition of the people living around it. When you are surrounded by geography that totally defies human comprehension, you just start to dream on a much, much grander scale. Which brings us to a really fascinating paradox. Back in an era defined by ruthless Western expansion, rapid industrialization, and let's face it, extracting every resource possible, they made an incredible decision. And this brilliantly illustrates their commitment to nature, holding the title for the world's first national park. The establishment of Yellowstone marked a major turning point. Think about the remarkable foresight that takes. Actively setting aside and protecting a piece of this wild geography forever, putting a hard stop on development just to preserve a natural heritage. It tells us that amidst the fierce drive to conquer the land, there was this deeply woven, almost spiritual reverence for it. They recognized that the wildness wasn't just an obstacle, it was a core part of their identity. All right, moving on to section 2. Let's shift gears from serene nature to the vibrant, pulsing cultural heart of the country, culture, sports, and entertainment. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is seeing how that massive physical scale we just talked about translates directly into human expression. These cultural hallmarks aren't just local pastimes, they are absolute engines of soft power, exporting American ideals all over the globe. Take baseball and American football, right? Neither needs a government decree to be recognized as an official national sport. The sheer, undeniable passion of the people elevates them into national obsessions, generating billions of dollars and deeply dedicated fan bases worldwide. And then consider the urban spectacles. We've got the iconic glowing billboards of Times Square during New Year's Eve, or the globally renowned neon-drenched casino culture of Las Vegas. These places are literal monuments to entertainment. They project a culture that values grand spectacle, undeniable ambition, and the thrill of the chase, continuously drawing the eyes of the entire world to its shores. And that leads us perfectly into our third and final section, education, science, and the economy, or as I like to call it, a true global magnet. So the absolutely crucial takeaway here is how all of this cultural and physical energy actually coalesces into structural power. It basically acts like a giant gravitational force. First off, you've got top-tier universities acting as a massive brain drain, constantly pulling the best and brightest global talent right into the country. That intense concentration of intellect feeds directly into an economy so historically robust that the US dollar literally anchors global trade and finance. And when you combine the prestige of elite education with unparalleled economic dominance, well, you create an undeniable cultural loop. It continuously attracts millions of visiting tourists and international students every single year. They come for the education, they participate in the economy, and they experience the culture firsthand, which just perpetually feeds the nation's massive global influence. Let's move to and see how this builds, because we can trace all of this through a clear, frankly, breathtaking trajectory of ambition. Think about it. In less than a century, this is a nation that went from mastering its wild terrestrial frontiers with the creation of the first national parks to conquering the ultimate extraterrestrial frontier. Sending humans to the moon for the very first time wasn't just some neat scientific achievement, it was the ultimate cultural statement about pushing beyond boundaries. That historical leap from protecting the rugged earth beneath their feet to literally walking on the surface of the moon perfectly encapsulates a heritage that just refuses to accept limits. And today, that exact same momentum continues, welcoming millions annually to participate in that legacy of boundless innovation. Man, we have covered a tremendous amount of ground today, exploring how unparalleled geographical extremes birthed a true cultural and economic titan. It's a heritage totally defined by its sheer contrast and relentless scale. So, as we wrap up this tour, I want to leave you with a thought to ponder. With such extreme contrasts in weather, culture, and innovation, what single element truly defines this heritage for you? Does the rugged, wild landscape ultimately shape the fiercely independent culture, or is it the ambitious culture that has managed to conquer and harness that wild landscape? Really think about it, because understanding that dynamic is the key to understanding this fascinating global powerhouse. Keep learning, keep exploring, and keep asking great questions.